Oh, whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please start with a roll call.
Council President Corman.
Here.
Councilmember Prince.
Here.
Councilmember McIrvin.
Here.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
Here.
Councilmember Rivera.
Here.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Here.
Councilmember Perez.
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor. All present.
Okay, thank you. So tonight we're going to start off with a special presentation, the Governor's Smart City Award, and it's for the Willowcrest Town Hall Partnership. And to lead us off is Katie Buchel Morales. I think I said that correct.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Mayor, Council President Corman, and council members. For the record, Katie Buchel Morales, I'm Associate Planner in Community and Economic Development in the city's Long Range Planning Division. And this evening, I'm here to publicly announce that the city, along with its project partners at Homestead Community Land Trust, the Renton Housing Authority, and JP Morgan Chase Foundation, have been awarded a Governor's Smart Communities Award by the Department of Commerce for the recently completed Willowcrest townhomes in the city's Sunset neighborhood. So this is a very unique project. It's very special in that it's the first multifamily net zero energy permanently affordable home ownership development in King County. So in other words, the units were built to be very highly energy efficient with on-site solar panels and have all Energy Star appliances to help conserve both energy and water. The project required significant amount of collaboration among its partners, including Homestead Community Land Trust, the Renton Housing Authority, who donated land value at $800,000, and the JP Morgan Chase Foundation, who committed $500,000 early on in the planning process to help with both design and development. And then finally, the city provided grant funding to help with the project's green features and waive development fees and impact fees for a combined contribution of nearly $600,000. So I'm now going to pass it over to Valerie Smith at the Department of Commerce, who is presenting the award this evening. And then just a note to our project partners, please feel free to share a few words after Valerie has officially presented the award.
Great. Thank you, Katie. I'm Valerie Smith. I am the Interim Deputy Managing Director for Growth Management Services at the Department of Commerce. Thank you for allowing me to present today. On behalf of Governor Jay Inslee and Commerce Director Lisa Brown, I am pleased to present the Smart Communities Partnership Award to the City of Renton. This award highlights the Governor's commitment to preserving and protecting Washington's desirable quality of life and recognizes the hard work of our communities, residents, and local officials to make sure we have a clean environment and high quality, affordable communities. All the attributes that make our great state a wonderful place to live, work, and play. This specific award highlights progress for the entire state by moving the needle on housing affordability and climate action, which are priorities of Governor Inslee and the core objectives of the Department of Commerce. As Katie mentioned, today we are celebrating a collaborative effort through that implements the goals and policies and plans to encourage permanently affordable and net zero housing options for Renton residents. The partnerships formed to create the Willowcrest Townhome development will continue to serve the community and region for decades to come. This development, the first of its kind in King County, was highlighted by the judges as a model for others looking to begin climate-focused projects and environmental justice work. This project implements the 2016 Sunset Area Transformation Plan, as well as the goals of the Growth Management Act. It serves as an excellent example of innovative and collaborative partnerships and has real benefits to the community that it serves. We are encouraged by the high standards set by this project. The Willowcrest townhomes exceed development standards for sustainability, including energy efficient construction, green stormwater infrastructure, and also the homes are equipped with state-of-the-art energy efficient appliances, heating and cooling systems, and fixtures that conserve and increase efficiency while maintaining affordability. This homestead model ensures homes are accessible to low and moderate income households in perpetuity, allowing each unit to create first-time home buying opportunities for up to 7 households over a 50-year period. Also noteworthy was the excellent public outreach efforts associated with this development, including the series of homestead homebuyer club workshops to help identify the obstacles of home ownership and to select strategies to overcome these obstacles. To the City of Renton, Mayor Law, Mayor Pavone, President Corman, and council members, thank you. Thank you for your commitment to strengthening Washington State communities, and a special thank you for the partners involved in this project, including but not limited to city and county staff, the Homestead Community Land Trust, J.P. Morgan Chase Foundation, and the Renton Housing Authority, among others. On behalf of Governor Inslee, I thank you for your hard work, innovation, and amazing model for planning for the future growth, development, and redevelopment of our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. Kathleen or Kat, would either of you like to say a few words?
Thank you. I'd be delighted. I know we're also supposed to show this, if I can pull it up, our wonderful, I guess on my blurred background, it doesn't show up so well, but just truly, truly honored. I think this collaborative spirit with the City of Renton, Homestead Community Land Trust, and the Renton Housing Authority, this is such a beacon towards our values of sustainability, equity, and affordability that we are so proud to be funders, and just want to congratulate the partners on this incredibly well-deserved recognition. And just thanks to all for your efforts to support, advocate, and amplify this efforts, because there's more work to be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat. And just as the Executive Director of Homestead Community Land Trust, I'm deeply grateful to Kat and her team, J.P. Morgan Chase, who really kicked off this project with their investment in the project, along with Renton Housing Authority and the City of Renton's commitment. A big shout out to my staff, to our architects, Third Place Design Center Collaborative. I mean, King County on 2 levels, housing funding, but also the the waterworks funding that created our stormwater management system. The state of Washington, obviously, thank you so much for Housing Trust Fund. And Edwards Mother Earth Foundation, we had 11 different sources to create the affordability of these homes, and we couldn't have done it without you. So deep gratitude there. You know, the state of affordable housing is that people try to force a binary. They try to say, well, you can either do deep green or you can do affordable. And at Homestead, we totally reject that framing. It is urgent that we increase the supply of permanently affordable homes for sale. It is urgent that we address our climate change issues. It's urgent that we do both now. We refuse to accept an either or. And it's really urgent as well, and people are paying attention to the fact that we need to increase homeownership rates, not just for working class families, but also for our BIPOC households that have been left behind by the prosperity of our region. So we're committed to doing that. And to that end, we have a Willowcrest Phase 2 in mind. And we have a daunting challenge ahead of us in terms of funding that. I joke that we funded Willowcrest with car washes and bake sales. It took every inch of a gumption to cobble together all the different sources that we needed to finish this first demonstration project. We think we've proved the value of it. We're going to be looking for your partnership to raise the money for Willowcrest 2, which will be 19 units instead of just 12. So we thank you so much for your partnership in creating the first 12 homes, and look forward to working with you again on the next 19. Thank you so much, City of Renton, and thank you to the governor for this very prestigious award.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Katie and Kat and Kathleen. You know, we hear so much about affordable housing, but affordable home ownership really is another issue, and I can't say enough about this project, and the idea of creating more of these is fantastic. So thank you all for your support and for the teamwork in getting this done. So look forward to more. Thank you. Okay, next up we have a couple of public hearings, and the first one is the extent economic recovery signs and permit ordinance, and Brittany Gilliam will be presenting. There you are. You're muted, Brittany.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening to the City Council. For the record, my name is Brittany Gillia, and I'm an assistant planner with CED. For those joining the meeting by audio only, my phone number is 425-430-7246, and my email is bgillia@brentonwa.gov. I'm here before you today to present a public hearing for extending interim zoning controls for economic recovery. And so some background on our economic recovery interim zoning controls. On July 13th, 2020, Ordinance 5974 established the free economic recovery right-of-way use permit and economic recovery signs, both of which I'll briefly explain in some later slides. The original ordinance was extended and amended to add more economic recovery measures, and that next ordinance, Ordinance 5997, was extended by Ordinance 6018, which is the ordinance in effect today. If Ordinance 6018 is not extended, it is set to expire tomorrow, December 7th, 2021. So the ordinance includes statements regarding the negative impacts the COVID-19 pandemic has had on businesses and really the ongoing need for economic recovery assistance. Ordinance 6018 extended the economic recovery right-of-way permits, which are the free, streamlined permits that allow temporary business expansions, such as sidewalk cafes or outdoor dining spaces. The economic recovery right-of-way permits that were still valid at the time of ordinance adoption for Ordinance 6018 were extended to coincide with the new expiration of the interim zoning controls. And you can see here, there are two images on the bottom. On the bottom right, you can see an example of a sidewalk cafe that was permitted through the program that we are doing for the economic recovery. And then on the other side, there is an example of economic recovery signage. The ordinance also goes on to state that prefabricated, pre-engineered parklets are within the scope of our economic recovery right-of-way permit. So on the lower right-hand side of the screen, you can see an example rendering of this type of parklet. The ordinance also waives the need for a temporary use permit if a business wishes to expand into an adjacent vacant tenant space. So it did not waive the need for appropriate building permitting if the expansion would require a tenant improvement, but it did allow for one less step towards their expansion. And so the image on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, you can see there are certain areas covered in green, and that's to sort of represent where you could potentially expand your business with one of these economic recovery right-of-way permits. You can see there's a parking stall, you could put a parklet. There's an area in front of a shop that you could do a sidewalk cafe, and potentially even the storefront adjacent next door if you wanted to expand over. And lastly, in order to ease challenges for patrons to shop and dine in downtown Renton, several curbside pickup priority parking stalls have been established throughout the CD or center downtown zone. You can see here, this is an image on the left-hand side of the screen that shows you kind of what these signs look for if you want to look out for them while you're in downtown Renton. Also, the parking fees in the city center parking garage have been waived for parking periods up to 10 hours. So you can see here that the entrance on 2nd Avenue is where you can go if you wanted to park and be within walking distance of the many different shops and businesses to access downtown. And so I am here before you today to propose an extension of the interim zoning controls related to economic recovery. Emergency ordinances can be extended for a maximum of 6 months at a time, and so staff would like to propose an extension until June 6th, 2022. And as we've done in the past, staff is proposing to have economic recovery right-of-way use permits that are going to be valid as of December 7th, 2021, to have their expiration coinciding with this new expiration period, and to also have the economic recovery right-of-way permit to be available until that same date. So the new available date would hopefully be June 6th, 2022. And our next steps for tonight would be to accept public testimony regarding the proposed extension, with first and second reading to be effective immediately upon adoption. If adopted, the ordinance would sunset on June 6th, 2022, after which all economic recovery business expansions and economic recovery signage would need to be removed. And so if you're a business owner in Renton and you're interested in obtaining one of these economic recovery right-of-way permits or learning more, feel free to contact me and I'd be happy to work with you to schedule a planning session where we can get some materials together for you to have your permit started up. And again, these permits are free, so definitely reach out and I'd be happy to assist. But this does conclude my presentation. Thank you very much for your time. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to address them.
Thank you, Brittany. Are there any questions? Don't see any. Okay, do we have anyone signed up to testify or any communication?
Mr. Mayor, I received no correspondence or had anyone sign up to speak about this public hearing.
All right, thank you. What's the wish of the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Prince.
I move we close the public hearing.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that the public testimony or public hearing be closed. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. All right, the next public hearing is right-of-way ADA transition plan, and to present is Vanjie Garcia.
Good evening, everyone. Let me get my screen. All right, does everybody see the screen? All right. So good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. My name is Vanjie Garcia, Transportation Planning and Programming Manager in Public Works. The effort of updating the ADA transition plan for public rights-of-way began last year. The city adopted a previous plan in 2015, and we now have an official draft update to that plan, concluding with a public hearing tonight. Tonight's presentation will provide you some document highlights. This is intended to be a review of the journey developing this plan. A copy of the full document was included in the agenda. The plan is also available at rentonada.com, where the online document has been formatted to be used with assisted reading technologies. When the ADA was signed into law, a transition plan is required of public entities to ensure their facilities meet accessibility standards. The U.S. Access Board is responsible for developing and updating standards for accessible design, otherwise known as the ADAG Manual, or ADAG for short. These guidelines are used by the Department of Justice and the Department of Transportation in setting enforceable standards. This transition plan addresses barriers to pedestrian facilities within public rights-of-way, which are usually under the purview of the Public Works or Transportation departments at most agencies. These are examples of the types of barriers that are typically addressed in a transition plan for public rights-of-way. The city inventoried existing physical barriers in GIS, conducted a public survey online, and provided a mail-in option. The public feedback included focus groups of both external and internal stakeholders. The previous plan from 2015 created a thoughtful baseline in addressing access needs, but there were some important parts that needed more detail, such as a schedule and timeline for implementation and stakeholder input. In the last few decades, many public agencies have increased efforts in creating or updating transition plans, partly because of legal action that has occurred in other jurisdictions. In some circumstances, a sponsor agency is required to have a transition plan in order to apply for a grant or is at a severe disadvantage. This update includes recommendations after conducting a policy and process audit from our consultant, who has developed transition plans for multiple jurisdictions. I will go over the prioritization results from the self-evaluation in the next few slides. The stakeholder engagement strategy included an online open house with mail-in forms provided to community partners. Due to the pandemic, the outreach sessions had to be online instead of in person and included meetings with the Senior Advisory Committee and Lighthouse for the Blind. One of the most important deliverables from this update is a GIS map portal to help track progress of burial removal after this plan is adopted. When Renton became an AARP age-friendly city, we committed to create a plan to address the 8 domains of livability. The ADA transition plan process directly aligns with the transportation domain under this initiative in helping create a place that helps people of all ages get to where they need to go, regardless of travel mode and ability. The city increases the livability index of Renton. 17% of existing ramps are ADA compliant and 9% have minor compliance issues, which leaves the rest of the 4,000 plus curb ramps having significant compliance issues. Curb ramps are designed and constructed to tie into existing roadways. Steep or otherwise constrained locations may make it infeasible to meet ADA grade standards. When not feasible to remove all curb ramp barriers, ramps may be built to the maximum extent feasible to satisfy ADA requirements, but specific documentation called MEFs are required. These numbers do not account for ramps with MEFs. Approximately 353 miles of sidewalk were inventoried with approximately 49% in compliance with ADA standards. The self-evaluation process allowed the city to inventory existing barriers, and it was only a starting point. This plan also looked at other parameters such as sidewalk widths and whether signalized intersection had audible push buttons. Assessing all these access needs can be overwhelming, and having a current ADA transition plan is a way for a city to plan forward. Since the data for this plan was collected between 2019 to early 2020, some of the barriers identified in this document have been addressed through new construction. Our downtown is a great example. The ADA requires the transition plan to specify a schedule for taking steps to make existing facilities ADA compliant. This includes creating a prioritization process and framework. Our plan consisted of a GIS process that scored all the barriers due to 1, physical impact to accessibility, and 2, proximity to key pedestrian destinations. Those scores resulted in these maps. The higher the score, the higher the priority for the city to address. The existing transportation program funding levels, this analysis resulted in approximately 135 years to remove all the very high priority barriers within city right-of-way. However, this analysis only evaluated existing transportation programs and does not include discrete capital projects that will be constructed by other departments or even transportation or private development when it comes in. Chapter 5 of this plan document includes recommended actions that are required for agencies to do in a transition plan as noted in the ADA, as well as others that have resulted from the policy audit, the external outreach, and the internal listening sessions. Chapter 5 goes into more detail into each recommendation and suggested next steps. Recommendation number 11 comes into trying to reduce the 135 years calculated to address all the high priority barriers. It recommends an additional $240,000 per year for the next 50 years in order to remove the high priority barriers identified in the self-evaluation. The ADA transition plan is meant to be a living document. This is a progression from the previous 2015 version. Once adopted, we have recommendations and action steps to move closer to becoming a barrier-free city for all. Today is the close of the public comment period that began at the end of October. Staff recommendation is to incorporate any public comment into the final document and adopt on December 13th. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Are there any questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to congratulate Angie for the hard work, that they have done during the last couple of years putting this together. I have been able to be part of this process during while I was at the Transportation Committee, and really, I'm very impressed with the outreach of the public and making the city very accessible for everybody. Thank you, Benji, and please congratulate your team. They have done a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have anyone signed up to testify or any communication received?
Mr. Mayor, I received no correspondence or no request to speak for this public hearing.
Okay. What is the wish of the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman McGurven.
I move we close public hearing. Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember McGurven, second by Council President Corman, that the public hearing be closed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next up is our administrative report.
Good evening, everyone. The holidays are all about the spirit of giving. Donate new unwrapped toys, jackets, hats, gloves, and socks at the holiday gift drive on Thursday, December 9th. You can drop off your donations from 12:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the Renton Community Center at 1715 Maple Valley Highway. Gifts will be distributed to families in need who have been screened by the Renton Salvation Army. King County Fire Chiefs Association will be hosting a diversity and recruitment workshop on Saturday, December 11th from 8:15 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Fire service professionals will be discussing preparation for written exams, acing the oral boards, physical and mental wellness, and medical and psychological exams. Breakfast and lunch will be served. To register for this event and more information, visit www.kingcountyfirechiefs.org. The Emergency Feeding Program, SOS, in partnership with the City of Renton, will host free lunch events for the unsheltered and those residents with food insecurities throughout the city. These events will be held at 300 Rainier Avenue North from 12:30 to 2 p.m. on Tuesday, December 14th and December 21st. Food and drinks, personal hygiene kits, cleaning supplies, and socks will be available. Parking is located on the west side of the Renton Airport, north of the intersection of Rainier Avenue North and Airport Way. The Renton History Museum is hosting 2 new exhibits through February 11th, 2022. The annual art show of the Brain Injury Alliance of Washington is in the main gallery, featuring 23 pieces by 22 artists. These works demonstrate the healing power of creativity. Also in the main gallery is Life on the Rivers, an exhibit that explores the central role of the Black and the Cedar Rivers in the lives of Renton's earliest residents, the Duwamish people, and white settlers who came later. Renton History Museum is located at 235 Mill Avenue South. Hours are Wednesday through Friday, 10 to 4 p.m. City Hall has been open since July for in-person services at our finance and police counters Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 3 p.m. Our municipal court counter is open Thursday and Friday, 8:30 to 4:30 p.m., while hearings are conducted via Zoom. Our staff continues to provide and improve virtual and online customer services such as our virtual permit counter and our recreation programming reservation process. Space is limited in each facility and masks are required when inside as we follow guidance that protects both you and our employees. For more information, please visit our website. Help us prevent local residential street flooding by monitoring catch basins near your home and keep them clear of leaves and other debris. Street sweepers are dispatched daily to clean up debris along major arterials. And information about preventative street maintenance, traffic impacts, and road closures happening this week can be found at www.rentonwa.gov/traffic. All projects are weather permitting, and unless otherwise noted, streets will always remain open. That's all I have.
Thank you, Christy. All right, next up we have the consent agenda. We have 17 items for council consideration. Are there any that anyone would like pulled?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Halloran.
I would like to pull items F, G, H, and I.
F, G, H, and I.
Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President Corman.
seeing no others, I would move we approve the consent agenda minus items F, G, H, and I.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Corman, second by Councilmember McGurven, that the council concur with the consent agenda minus items F, G, H, and I. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Councilmember O'Halloran.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, these 4 items relate to utility bill leak adjustments on 4 properties, non-residential, residential, multifamily, and commercial. The total of the 4 utility bill leak adjustments is less than $20,000. So I move the council concur with these 4 items.
Second.
Okay, it's moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, second by Councilmember Prince, that the council concur with items F, G, H, and I. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council.
I would just like to say I think that's a very wise choice by our finance chair. I think 15 items on an agenda is probably too many, so it's good to get some of the easy ones out of the way on the floor tonight. So I thoroughly support the motion.
All right. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. Next, we are on to unfinished business. Council President Corman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have a committee of the whole report to present.
Okay, Committee of the Whole, committee report. This is regarding allocation of the lodging tax funding for 2022. The Committee of the Whole recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve allocations for the 2022 Lodging Tax Fund as recommended by the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee as follows. The Empowering Festival of Light Diwali Ball, that's $15,000. Empowering North America Fashion Week, $20,000. Empowering Women's Show, $20,000. City of Maple Valley Ironman 2022 at $25,000. The LTAC community sponsored events at $10,000. The DAWA project Northwest Naturals Expo at $12,500. City of Renton 4th of July celebration, $20,000. City of Renton holiday lights at Coulon, $10,000. Randall Morris Foundation celebrity golf tournament at $20,000. The Renton Chamber of Commerce Visitor Center at $100,000. Highschool.gg Renton City Retro, $20,000. Renton Community Marketing Campaign 2022 at $80,000. The Renton Downtown Partnership Marketing Campaign at $27,500. The Renton Downtown Partnership Holiday Lights Festival at $15,000. The Real Renton Seattle Film Summit at $40,000. And the Seattle TISI Sangam 2022 Sangam Festival at $25,000 for a total recommendation of $460,000. The committee further recommends authorization for the mayor and city clerk to execute the contracts with the successful applicants to expend budgeted funds on the proposed additional marketing initiatives.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President Corman.
I move that council concur in the committee of the whole report.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Corman, seconded by Councilmember McGurven, that the council concur with the committee of the whole report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Motion
That's all,
carries.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Committee on Committees has one report to present.
Okay, the Committee on Committees Committee Report. This is for the 2022 Council Committee assignments. The Committee on Committees recommends the following Council Committee assignments for 2022. Community Services Committee, first Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Carmen Rivera, Chair. Valerie O'Halloran, Vice Chair. James Alberson, Member. Finance Committee, second and fourth Mondays at 4 p.m. Valerie O'Halloran, Chair. Ruth Perez, Vice Chair. Kim Convon, Member. Planning and Development Committee, second and fourth Mondays at 5 p.m. Ed Prince, Chair. James Alberson, Vice Chair. Ruth Perez, Member. Public Safety Committee, third Monday at 4:30 p.m. Ruth Perez, Chair. Kim Convon, Vice Chair. Ed Prince, Member. Transportation Committee, first and third Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Kim Convon, Chair. Ed Prince, Vice Chair. Carmen Rivera, Member. And Utilities Committee, first and third Tuesdays at 3:30 p.m. James Alberson, Chair. Carmen Rivera, Vice Chair. Valerie O'Halloran, Member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember McGurven.
yes, before I move adoption of this, I just want to really quickly reflect and say we did our very best, as always, to try to get everyone's first and second choices where possible. I'm proud to say that we were able to get everyone's either first, second, and only one case third choice for committee chair. So hopefully folks are relatively happy where they landed as much as possible. We did do one new thing this year that I don't believe had been done previously, which was to take input from our incoming council members, including Councilmember Rivera and Councilmember-elect Alberson. So hopefully this process was a good one, and people are happy. And if it didn't work, obviously we can always look at a better way to do it next year. But I'm happy to present this report and move adoption.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council Member McGurven, second by Councilmember Prince, that the council concur with the Committee on Committee report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. All right. And next up, we have Councilmember O'Halloran.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm wearing two hats this evening. The first in representing the Utilities Committee. The Utilities Committee has two committee reports.
Okay. The Utilities Committee report, the first is regarding the 2021 Surface Water Utility System Plan. The Utilities Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the resolution to adopt the 2021 Surface Water Utilities System Plan.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember O'Halloran.
I move the council concur with the Utility Committee report.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, second by Councilmember Van, that the council concur with the Utility Committee report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the final report for the Utilities Committee is regarding a change order with SCI Infrastructure for the Downtown Utility Improvement Project. The Utilities Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute change order number 1 to contract 21001 with SCI Infrastructure LLC in the amount of $2,852,413.72 for additional and authorized work related to the installation of the utilities for the downtown utility improvement project.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Halloran.
I move council concur with the Utilities Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, second by Councilmember Van, that the council concur with the Utility Committee report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay,
And in my usual hat, Finance Committee has 2 committee reports.
Okay, the first Finance Committee report is regarding approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves the following payments. Accounts payable, total payment of $19,177,357.60 for a number of vouchers and payroll benefit withholding vouchers and 3 wire transfers. And 2, payroll, total payment of $1,545,848.44 for payroll vouchers that include 593 direct deposits and 6 checks. This is the November 1st through November 15th, 2021 pay period.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember O'Halloran.
I move the council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, second by Councilmember Prince, that the council concur with the Finance Committee report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the final Finance Committee report is regarding adoption of the 2022 City of Renton salary table. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to adopt the proposed ordinance approving the final 2022 salary table, incorporating changes from the 2021 salary table that were separately approved by council.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember O'Halloran.
I move that the council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, seconded by Councilmember Prince, that the council concur with the Finance Committee report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Next up, Councilmember Rivera.
I do not believe I have any unfinished business, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Van.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
And Councilmember Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right. We're on to legislation. We have 1 resolution. We have 10 ordinance for first reading and 1 ordinance for first and second reading.
Okay, the resolution is regarding the surface water utilities plan just approved by the committee a minute ago. So a resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, adopting the 2021 surface water utility system plan.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember O'Halloran.
I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, seconded by Councilmember Van, that the resolution be adopted as read. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the first ordinance for first reading is regarding the salary table we just discussed. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, adopting the 2022 City of Renton salary table for non-represented city employees, ASME Local 2170 city employees, Renton Police Department commissioned officers, and Renton Police Department non-commissioned officers.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember O'Halloran.
I move the ordinance be advanced for second and final reading at the next committee meeting, council meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, seconded by Councilmember Prince, that the ordinance be moved to second and final reading at the next council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the next few ordinances are docket items that were approved previously by the Planning and Development Committee. The first one is docket 185, and it's bonus density and third-party reporting. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsections 48120C and 4965D1 of the Renton Municipal Code, amending bonus density annual reporting requirements, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Prince.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the next is docket item 186 regarding cottage housing. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending sections 42110, 42115, subsections 4480F10D, 4490A, and 4490B, section 4790, subsections 4965A, 4965B, 4565D, 49200B, and 49200D, and section 41130 of the Renton Municipal Code, adding cottage house development regulations, including adding a definition of cottage house development to section 41130, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right, the next item is docket 188 regarding impact fee credit. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsections 41190G4 and 41190G6 of the Renton Municipal Code, revising collection of impact fee regulations, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right, the next item is docket 189 regarding setbacks in commercial zones. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsections 42120A, 42120C15, and 42120C16 of the Renton Municipal Code, clarifying setback requirements for front yards and secondary front yards within the commercial neighborhood CN, Center Village CV, and commercial arterial CA zones, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Prince.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right, the next item is docket 190, applicability of design regulations. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsection 43100B1A of the Renton Municipal Code, clarifying that conversion of a non-residential use to a residential use is subject to urban design regulations, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the next docket item is docket 191, which is ADUs with religious institutions. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsections 4480A7 and 4480F10D, section 4930, and the definition of dwelling unit accessory in section 41140 of the Renton Municipal Code, amending accessory dwelling unit ADU regulations, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right, the next ordinance is docket 192 regarding fence regulations. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Section 4440 of the Renton Municipal Code, revising fence, hedge, and retaining wall regulations, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez. The ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right, the next is docket 196, height and setbacks in the RMF zone. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsections 42110A and 42110E20 of the Renton Municipal Code, amending height and setback regulations in the RMF residential multifamily zone, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez. This ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the final ordinance for first reading is docket 199 regarding residential accessory structures. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending residential accessory structure regulations in subsections 42110A, 42110B, 42110E4, 42110E17, and 4630C of the Renton Municipal Code, the definition of building height in section 41120 of the Renton Municipal Code, and table 129A of the City of Renton Surface Water Design Manual, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the final ordinance is for first and advancement to second reading tonight. It's regarding the economic recovery signs about the public hearing was about earlier. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, extending the interim zoning controls established by ordinance number 5974, extended and amended by ordinance 5997, and extended by ordinance 6018, providing for severability, declaring an emergency, and establishing an immediate effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Prince.
I move we place this on second and final reading tonight.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez. This ordinance be placed on second and final reading at tonight's meeting. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, I'll read it again. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, extending the interim zoning controls established by ordinance number 5974, extended and amended by ordinance 5997, and extended by ordinance 6018, providing for severability, declaring an emergency, and establishing an immediate effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move we adopt the ordinance as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Perez. The ordinance be adopted as read. Any discussion? This requires a roll call.
Okay, Council President Corman.
Aye.
Councilmember Prince.
Aye.
Councilmember McIrvin.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
Aye.
Councilmember Rivera.
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Aye.
And Councilmember Perez.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. One less to do next week. All right, next up is new business. Council President Corman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 meetings to announce, both of them for Monday, December 13th, 2021. The first is at 6:00 p.m., Committee of the Whole, via video conference, and it's a downtown pavilion market development. And then the second meeting is our regular council meeting at 7:00 p.m., and that's also via video conference. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, at 4:45 on Monday, December 13th, we'll have a Planning and Development Committee meeting by video conference. We have 6 items on the agenda. Docket 16 Group C, Docket 16 Group D update, owner occupancy for ADUs, urban forest management plan update, year-end review, and emerging issues in CED. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember McGurven.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have any new business to announce. I would like to echo the sentiments that Council President Corman expressed during a Committee of the Whole to welcome and acknowledge our newest council member, Carmen Rivera. And also, earlier in the audience, I saw we had Councilmember-elect Alberson, so I just want to acknowledge him as well and look forward to working with you all. That's all.
All right, thank you. Councilmember O'Halloran.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on Monday, December the 13th at 3:30 p.m., the Finance Committee will be meeting via video conference. We have 11 items on the agenda. Sunset Garden multifamily fee waiver request, Watershed Apartments fee waiver request, grant agreement with the Renton Housing Authority for Sunset Gardens, renewal of stop-loss coverage 2022 with Symetra, renewal of the city's liability insurance policies for 2022 with Alliant, recreational coordinator position hire at Step D, agreement with Davie Resources Group for certified arborist inspection services, agreement with Canvar Corp. For the 2022 through 24 groundskeeping, interagency agreement between Renton Police Department and the Washington Traffic Safety Commission, the Regional Mobility Capital Construction Grant Agreement with Washington State Department of Transportation for the Rainier Avenue South Corridor Improvement Project 4A, and emerging issues in finance. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Rivera.
Mr. Mayor, I am not chairing any committees at this moment, and so I don't believe I have anything to report.
That is correct. All right. Councilmember Van.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually don't have any new business for next week, but I want to welcome, warm welcome to Councilmember Rivera joining us on council, and looking forward to New Year with one more council meeting, of course.
All right, Councilmember Perez.
No new business, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, and I want to point out there was no one signed up for audience comments. I should announce that earlier in the agenda. I apologize for that oversight. So yes, welcome to your first council meeting, Councilmember Rivera. See how easy that was? I just got to link lots of them together. Okay, what's the wish of the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Been moved by Councilmember Prince, second by Council President Corman, that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, everyone have a good night. We are adjourned.
Okay. Bye.